So tell the people how you, first of all, tell them how you decided to come up and just get into what you're doing, sir.
Oh man, that's a pretty long story. Well, I think the biggest thing is that I've been an audio junkie my whole life, and I have my dad to thank for that. He, I growing up, I always had like really high end music in the house. He had like legacy speakers, Krell amps, like these crazy speaker cables made of silver and everything else. And
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember
so
those.
yeah, yeah. So it was like, that it just wasn't the normal situation, like where, I had a exposure to high end audio pretty early on. And I've been a musician since probably about middle school, sixth, seventh grade. So play guitar and I sing. So kind of that in conjunction really got me going, into audio, and always loved, movies, like, watch Star Wars a zillion times as a kid.
Oh yeah,
And
oh yeah, yeah.
VHS
Still watching that.
on the tube CRT TV,
Yup,
So
yup. Showing
yeah,
some age there. Showing some age.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So basically, like, that kind of really just got me into like music and movies. And for just kind of, I've been into my whole life, as long as I could remember, really. And then, like, I'm a financial planner by day, like you can say.
Hmm.
So I do like pre-retirement planning. But I was about to do a system for my wife and I. And I at the time, like, before I, audio experience was a thought in my mind.
Right.
I just I was about to, like, go on an adventure. I'm like, all right, well, before I'm going to drop some serious cash on this,
Yeah.
I need to know, like, what's out there, right? So I went on a pretty wild hunt, just to kind of see, like, what's out there in the price category that I was shopping. And so my dad and my uncle, we just went on a wild audition spree of all sorts of stuff. And the funny thing was that, surprisingly, at the time, and this kind of is part of one of the reasons why I started Audio Experience, is because I had, like, a lot of the stuff that I was looking for, it was not available in Connecticut, like,
Oh,
at
okay.
all. Yeah. Like, first of all, like, not every brand that I was interested, they even had a dealer in Connecticut. And then those that were dealers in Connecticut, they didn't necessarily have the stuff on display where I can actually, hey, let me come in and listen. So that was one thing. But so we went out to, like, New York, New Jersey, we went to Massachusetts, we went to New Hampshire, we went all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah, yo, was all over New England.
Yeah, yeah. And at the time, like, this was before COVID.
Right.
And at the time, like, audio experience wasn't even a thought in my mind. Like, I had no intention, no thought at all of doing anything like this. But basically, like, there was three things that, after this whole experience, it made me consider. It kind of put the idea in my head of starting this business. And the first was what I just said, is that, as far as the lack of product availability in Connecticut.
Right.
As
Right.
far as, and Connecticut's not that big, it's a small state. But the
Yeah.
lack of ability, like, statewide, for people to come and audition a lot of like products that at least that I was interested at the time when I was doing this, when I
Mhm.
was a shopper. And so that was the first thing. And the second thing was, a lot of places I visited, they didn't really ask me, hey, like, what's your room like? What are you working with?
Yeah,
Are
dimensions
you,
and stuff like that.
what's that?
Dimensions and stuff like that.
Yeah, dimensions, like, like, overall budget. They
Mhm.
weren't like, "Hey, like, what system are you coming from? Is
Right.
there any particular brand that you're kind of, loyal to, or, what sound signature do you favor, or anything, stuff that, in my mind, is really important when you're actually trying to help someone with respect to landing on something that's really gonna benefit them." Thank you,
Mhm.
man. Yeah, those are the, Bowers& and Wilkins 801 D4 signature. So we have those on display here at Audio Experience. But yes, they are beastly. Yeah. And so basically, um, you know, that was another thing that I noticed. Just kind of like they just basically, handed me an iPad with Rune on it, and they're like, "Here you go," and it was like, all right, whatever. So, and then the third thing is that a lot of the showrooms, they were constructed in a way, and again, not all of them. Some of them
Mhm.
were simply unbelievable, but most of them, the vast majority of them, the showrooms were not set up to basically allow the product that was being auditioned to demonstrate its fullest potential. And by that, I mean, like, you walk in, there's like speakers all over the place, like they're crammed in like sardines. They're not set up, equidistant from the sidewall, from the rear wall. They're not towed in properly if they require being towed, having towed in.
Right.
Um, and that was one thing. And then also just like lack of synergy pairing. So for example, we are paradigm dealers here at Audio Experience, and
Mhm.
so at the time, I listened to some paradigm speakers. I listened to them, basically the same line, but at two different places. One of them demonstrated that they sounded extremely harsh and very bright sounding, and another place, which offered them with more synergistically paired components, it maintained all the spacious qualities and the detail, but it allowed the speaker to present in a more enjoyable listening way, where you don't feel fatigued after like 10 minutes. And so that, all these things, kind of the showroom being very, very, I would say, unrelatable
Mhm.
to how well the speakers and, the products can actually perform, the lack of availability in the Connecticut area, and then just the lack of, just, I would say, salesmanship and genuine interest on behalf of the dealers to really, find out with whom they're interfacing, like how they can really help them. And so I'm like, you know what? I know I can do better than this, right?
Right.
So, so the whole goal was, I had essentially a lower half of my residence, which was totally unfinished.
Mhm.
And so I after, doing this whole exercise, and the plan was to finish it for my wife and I, right? But you know, this kind of got the gears turning in my head. Hey, what if you did a business? What if you created a business where you can, share and provide a listening environment that is quite literally as close to, and provide as high of a correlation to what can be possible in someone else's home, in the client's home.
Right.
And what better environment to do that than a residential environment, right? And so, and some people can kind of like look down their nose at that and be like, oh no, this guy's running a business out of his house, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, anyone that comes here, and all of the brands that we deal with,
Mhm.
they have regional sales managers, and after coming and meeting me and seeing the space, like,
Right.
there's no more explanation necessary, right? And so, you know, um, basically, I started the business on that idea, and I contacted some brands before even starting anything, and they bought into my vision, and
Right.
kind of the rest is history, so they say.